past 4 years, almost 9,000 civilians have been killed in the conflict.
The message to ISAF is that these statistics are unfortunately indicating exactly what you say, and that one civilian victim is too many, and that while we recognize and acknowledge a clear determination of avoiding these errors, we are still asking them that this should be coming to zero tolerance.
A group of Filipinos who suffered human rights abuses during former President Ferdinand Marcos's rule have finally received compensation. They also are calling on the government to issue a formal public apology. Marga Ortegas reports.
The long wait is finally over for these victims of human rights violations. Hundreds queued in Manila to receive a check of $1,000 as compensation for abuses suffered under the Marcos dictatorship. The money recovered from assets in the United States. Bernadette Aquino was a student activist against the regime in the 70s. She spent 2 years in a military prison and was repeatedly tortured.
For me, this is victory. A proof of the truth of what we have always said, that there were human rights violations during those times. But just because we received some sort of compensation now doesn't mean we will stop here. We will continue to demand a public apology for the atrocities they committed against the Filipino people.
But they may have to wait even longer for that.
Person connected with the rebellion.
In 25 years, the Philippine government hasn't managed to successfully try the Marcoses on home ground, much less provide official acknowledgement of any violations committed under the dictator's rule. With the help of U.S. lawyers, the victims filed a class action suit in the United States, where many Marcos assets were held and the deposed ruler himself had gone into exile.
There have been bills in the Philippine Congress since 1992 to compensate the victims, but there's no money to compensate them. So I don't see how it's going to happen. But for the private litigation, these victims would have nothing.
But these people say they are only the tip of the iceberg. There are thousands more like them, unacknowledged and not on the recipient list. And the wheels of justice in their own country have only proven too slow and unreliable once again. Marga Ortegas, AlJazeera, Manila.
Well, moving to Europe now, Enda Kenny has been elected as Ireland's new Prime Minister. The Fine Gael party leader has vowed to resolve the country's banking crisis. Kenny says he aims to renegotiate the terms of the European Union bailout, making it more affordable for Ireland. 9 people have been arrested in London and Reykjavik in connection with the collapse of Iceland's Kaupthing Bank. Tycoons Vincent and Robert Cengiz are believed to be among those being questioned in the UK. Kaupthing is one of Ireland's main commercial banks, collapsed 2 years ago. Mexican police have arrested a man they allege is the finance chief of the Zetas drug gang. He's been arrested in connection with the killing of a U.S. immigration official. Jamie Zapata was shot and killed while traveling to Mexico City last month. Mexican authorities say they've detained Mario Jimenez along with 16 other suspects. Mexican army says it has killed at least 6 suspected drug gangsters in a shootout. Authorities say soldiers returned fire after being shot at from a cave in the Buenavista de Juela. It's in the southern state of Guerrero. Authorities later found 9 rifles in the hideout. Well, the Space Shuttle Discovery has landed in Florida, ending its 39th and final mission as the world's most traveled spacecraft. Well, it's the first of NASA's 3 spaceships to be retired and will go on display in a museum. Imran Khan has more.
Discovery's gear is down and locked.
It'll be the last time we'll see Discovery's shadow over Earth. 27 years and the grand old dame of space glides gently into retirement.
We have main engine start. 2.
And what a career she's had.
Booster ignition and the final liftoff of Discovery.
Traveling through space for nearly 241 million kilometers and spending 1 full year sailing against the backdrop of planet Earth.
Station in Houston, Discovery has capture confirmed.
Her return home started at the International Space Station, orbiting high above the globe. She had delivered parts for the first humanoid robot in space. But all things come to an end.
Space Shuttle Discovery crew members get ready to leave the International Space Station.
It was hugs and handshakes as the astronauts bid farewell to their colleagues.
Houston and
physical separation.
She unlocked high above the Pacific Ocean. Then, after she pulls away, there was time for one last victory lap around the station. Then it was a quick tour: the Atlantic, the Sahara, the Med, and northern Italy.
Kennedy Space Center announcing Discovery's arrival, 3.5 minutes to touchdown.
Cape Canaveral will witness 2 more of these farewells, as shuttles Endeavour and Atlantis are also due to retire this year.
Main gear touchdown.
Discovery will still be a star. It's a public retirement for her, as an exhibit at the American Smithsonian Institute.
And nose gear touchdown and the end of a historic journey.
Imran Khan, Al Jazeera.
This is Al Jazeera, and these are the stories making the headlines now. In Libya, pro-Gaddafi forces say they've reclaimed the centre of Zawiya from rebel forces after fighting killed at least 40 people. Well, there are conflicting claims. The rebel fighters now say they've retaken the main square. Rebel fighters say they've advanced too in the strategic town of Bin Jawad, but faced airstrikes and heavy bombardment from tanks dug in by pro-Gaddafi forces. And those pro-Gaddafi forces have also launched multiple airstrikes on Ras al-Hanouf. That's a strategically important oil city in Libya. A fuel storage facility has also been hit. Senior representatives from Gaddafi's government, meanwhile, have been sent to Egypt, Malta, Portugal and Belgium. The Libyan Deputy Defence Minister is in Cairo. It's believed he's due to hold talks with Egypt's military council and the Arab League. Well, the Egyptian army has detained several people after armed men clashed with protesters in Cairo's Tahrir Square. Demonstrators say supporters of the ousted president, Hosni Mubarak, stormed their camp carrying knives, machetes and rocks. Witnesses also reported sounds of gunfire at the scene. Egypt's opposition leader and Nobel laureate Mohammed al-Baradei has confirmed he will run for president in elections later this year. He'll be up against the outgoing Arab League chief, Amr Moussa.
I intend to run for elections as soon as the door for voting is open. I will work from now, and it is my intention to run for office.
A Tunisian court has dissolved the party of ousted President Zain al-Abidine Ben Ali. The Constitutional Democratic Rally, or RCD, was suspended last month pending the court's ruling. Well, the Taliban has claimed responsibility for a suicide attack that's killed at least 37 people in northwest Pakistan. The victims were part of a funeral procession attended by anti-Taliban fighters near Peshawar. Well, the governor of the U.S. state of Illinois has commuted the death sentences of all 15 prisoners on death row. It follows a decision by the state's Democratic governor to abolish the death penalty. That law goes into effect on July the 1st. Well, those are the headlines. It's People and Power next. Stay with us.